So if the Palast is to be demolished, what, if anything, will replace it? How about a Prussian castle? The Berliner Schloss once stood on the very spot where the Palast now stands. Originally opened in 1443, the Schloss was a residence for many German rulers, including Kaiser Wilhelm II, the last German emperor and king of Prussia, who led Germany through World War I. Heavily damaged by Allied bombs in World War II, the Schloss was torn down by the GDR in the 1950s. The man behind the plan to rebuild the Schloss is Wilhelm von Bodin.
This picture shows Berlin in 2005, and you see the Palace of the Republic, and you see it's like a wall where the traffic of people run against, and you see two ancient buildings on the left and the right side, and you don't know why they are standing here, because they have no connection to anything.
Von Bodin and his supporters are trying to raise the private capital to bring back the Berliner Schloss, a building they believe will re-establish the architectural balance of the Schlossplatz, which includes the Baroque-style Berliner Cathedral, built in 1905, and Berlin's 19th century neoclassical Old Museum. Projected construction cost, around $1 billion. You think the majority of Berliners would support the rebuilding of the Schloss?
Like most people, they like beautiful buildings better than ugly buildings, and the palace is an ugly building. It's a simple answer.
But does a city with 12 castles in and around it really need another? Germany's parliament seems to think so, having voted 3 times for the removal of the Palast.
And if you rebuild the castle in the very center of Berlin, you can pretend a little bit this is still the old Prussian center. And you can forget a bit easier that we had the regime of Hitler, that we had the Second World War, and that we had the socialism in one part of Germany.
So is the debate over the Palast der Republik just about architecture and history? Or does it go deeper?
And so whenever there's a debate about history, about identity, about German mindset, this is always located in Berlin. But it's not connected to the country as a whole, but it's more Berlin is more a symbol than the reality of Germany.
According to Alexander, the uproar surrounding the Palast surprised many Berliners. But now, everyone has an opinion, and no one can agree.
So now in Berlin we find like we have one building, but in our heads it's different palaces. We have the old guys who say this palace is where our Schloss should be, and you have the GDR guys who said this palace does mean something to us, and you have the very young guys who say this is our place where we could like make theater, make concerts, and so it's one building, but a lot of ways to look at it.
The demolition of the Palast der Republik will continue for some time, with the likelihood of a new Berliner Schloss far from certain. This prime piece of Berlin real estate, overlooking the River Spree, might soon be replaced by a field of grass. All Berliners, whether an artistic director, a businessman, a journalist, an East German, or a West German, must at one point or another confront their country's recent and not so recent past. Even with its fate sealed, the short, bizarre life of the Palast der Republik offered Berlin an open venue where these issues of history and identity could be examined and debated. And in doing so, the Palast leaves behind a far greater legacy than its role as an obscure East German relic at the heart of a modern, united Berlin.